Here is an update. President Biden has signed a new pardon called a proclamation on granting pardon for the offense of simple possession of marijuana. For individuals convicted of marijuana possession, Biden grants a blanket pardon. Major moves toward decriminalizing marijuana possession were revealed by President Biden on Thursday. He offered blanket pardons to anyone convicted of a federal crime for merely possessing the substance and urged governors to follow suit. Pick a strategy. Write a review of whether marijuana should remain on the Schedule 1 list, which is only given to the deadliest narcotics like heroin, LSD, and ecstasy, was also ordered by him. He also instructed his administration to speed this evaluation. In a video statement, Biden said, "Our failed approach to marijuana has upended too many lives." The Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra and Attorney General Merrick Garland's assessment of marijuana's classification could answer a long-standing query of whether possession of marijuana, which is legal in some states, should ultimately be decriminalized at the federal level. He claimed that since 1965, approximately 29 million Americans have been detained for marijuana-related charges, which most of them believe ought to be lawful. It makes no sense for marijuana to be treated similarly to heroin under federal law, according to President Biden, who described the steps as being a question of common sense and fairness in his explanation. While white and black and brown individuals consume marijuana at comparable rates, black and brown people have disproportionately more arrests, prosecutions, and convictions, according to Biden. According to officials, over 6,500 people have convictions for simple marijuana possession on their records, even though no one is presently serving time in a federal prison for that reason alone. Officials claimed that thousands of additional residents of the district, which is governed by federal law, could possibly receive pardons. However, because state law is used to prosecute most marijuana-related charges, Biden's actions have no immediate impact on them. Officials from the Biden administration stated that the president will use his action to persuade state governors to grant widespread pardons on their own initiative. Because of the drive to combat drug use, America now has the highest jail population in the world. Some Republicans and Democrats have since pushed to move the emphasis away from punishment and toward addiction treatment and other options. In the 1980s and 1990s, when he supported strong drug prohibitions, Biden served as chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee and was criticized by some Democrats for his position on criminal justice. But since becoming president, he has departed from these views, using executive measures to address police wrongdoing and pardon nonviolent offenders. According to a 2021 Pew Research Center poll, 67% of Americans supported releasing prisoners who were only in for marijuana-related charges. More broadly, the poll indicated that 31% of Americans preferred legalizing marijuana for medical use alone, while 57% supported its legalization for both medical and recreational use. In addition, 68% of respondents to a November 2021 Gallup poll, up from 31% in 2000, thought marijuana use should be legalized. Biden's actions, however, come with political dangers because Republicans have spent a significant portion of the past year attacking the president and Democrats of being lax on crime and attributing the rise in violent and drug-related crimes to liberal policies. But as society has changed, many Republicans have softened their attitudes on marijuana usage, and some now believe that the decision should be left up to the individual states. In his recorded remarks, Biden seemed to try to anticipate Republican criticism by asserting that the modifications would not have an impact on large-scale drug trafficking or the crime of selling marijuana to minors. And some Democrats, like Pennsylvania Senate candidate John Fetterman, who claimed to have discussed the subject with Biden last month, have actively pushed for the decriminalization of marijuana. While some of Biden's announcements will have immediate effects, such as his decision to pardon federal marijuana possession offenses, Andrew Friedman, executive director of the Coalition for Cannabis Policy, Education, and Regulation, said that his order to Becerra and Garland to speed up a review of marijuana's scheduling is much more difficult and could take years, if not months. When Colorado legalized marijuana in 2014, Friedman served as the state's cannabis czar. He highlighted the continued conflict between the several states that have relaxed marijuana regulations and the stringent federal laws that are still in effect. This is the beginning of an actually healthy national dialogue about, all right, there's a fact that states have started to legalize this in various ways, and the federal government can no longer hold the stance that this is forbidden, Friedman said. Cannabis is currently included in Schedule 1, a list of substances that have been determined to be potentially very dangerous and to have no medical use. According to Friedman, HHS would first need to determine that cannabis may have some medical benefits and come to the conclusion that there is sufficient evidence to support this conclusion. After the Drug Enforcement Administration had a chance to evaluate it, it would have to make its own determination about how marijuana should be scheduled. Friedman noted that while the procedure generally takes many years, the administration may be able to finish it in only 2 years if Biden puts enough pressure on the agencies to speed up the assessment. Even yet, according to Friedman, reclassifying marijuana as a Schedule II drug, which would suggest it has some potential medical uses but is still dangerous, would not significantly alter the situation on the ground. Although states tended to tolerate it more, the federal government continued to view it as hazardous and prohibited, resulting in an extraordinary amount of conflict between the two. Cannabis legalization initiatives are on the ballot in 5 states in November, which could fuel the movement. Please like, share, comment and subscribe.